so we're taping onto the camera, but not onto the...
Okay. It's taping now.
Okay. VCR index right, whatever that means. So, I think this is, if I can recall, this is now February, it's supposed to be for our family time capsule. An idea originally brought up by Kay and Dennis Wright at an institute or some type of fireside. And we were going to use maybe the video motif to capture these kids at a certain period of time, and also our thoughts about them. And it's one of those subconscious things you don't even recognize you're doing. So we'll try to avoid the chewing tobacco look. And we got to start with 1994, hopefully without interruption from kids, as it were. Unfortunately, since it's now February of 95, I don't remember a heck of a lot of 94, even the really gratuitously graphic stuff I don't remember all that well. But we'll run through it a bit. Elaine has gone to the trouble of compiling a very small timeline on the back of Moon Systems paper. Well, okay, first thing recorded is February 17th, Jaden Wind, Iwaasa. Jaden Wind. My brother and sister-in-law cooked that one up. It's a disconnect. So our camera isn't working too well, and the baby isn't helping, so we're just going to keep going through no matter how choppy it gets. Why? Because we'll never finish, otherwise I'm going to have to go to a sort of job interview at 6. So we got to Jaden Wind, the classic name, Jaden Wind, coincidentally occurring in our lives about 5 or 6 days after we had seen a Star Trek episode with the character of the same name, which has no bearing or any reference to our good old nephew. Got to March 13th, my birthday. Cam's B-Day, how celebrated? Don't have a clue, can't remember. Wasn't drunk, just have one of those memories. April 6th, a nice day. Abigail Page. It says here 9 pounds. Wasn't she 10 pounds?
No, 9.
9 pounds. Well, she's a flippin' monster now. You'll get to see her, or you've probably been seeing her as you go. Reasonably easy delivery compared to the last one. Very quick. First thing she did, she popped out of the womb, took her first breath, and screamed loud. Very impressive. I mean, Joshua, all he could do was give a little mew-like kitten sounds for about a month. I was thinking, baby crying. I had some worries about baby crying, but I was thinking, baby crying, there's no problem with it. It's so pathetic. She is, I think she's to this day still louder than he is. Although she doesn't shriek, she just plain yells very loudly. What is this? Joshua B-Day, Paul and Allie Grandma, Jepson Grandma, Claridge, Micah, walk, balloon, 2 cakes. Yeah, I can't remember that. Was very interesting, however. And I think for the first time Joshua really had a scream in time at a celebration for him. I still don't think he's connected the two, that, you know, my birthday, celebration for me, and I don't think he's got that yet. But he had a great time. Bike ride and what? Cake?
On my birthday. Why don't you just do your thing?
Yeah, I'll never put this together. It has progressed quite quickly from the cute blob stage. You know, that thing is never going to go out there. That date.
No, that date isn't.
She's progressed pretty good from the blob stage. Wee. And she's actually been quite a joy. We've got a hilarious picture of her and Joshua. She's always been kind of a big hippo, although we're supposed to not make any comments or jokes about her weight, give her a complex. But she's also been a really happy, really fun kid. Really a joy to have, which you can obviously tell. Joshua, of course, has turned into be quite a psychopath. Oh, look at this. Just like Joshua. Let me walk. What do you...
Joshua's hair goes pretty wild in the morning. It's still an incredible color of auburn.
Yeah.
Women will come up to us and say, "Oh, I love his hair color. I want to take him to my hairdresser and get my hair dyed his color." So, plus he has the longest eyelashes ever.
Are you gonna take the center seat?
Yeah. Okay.
His vocabulary, however, is diminishing rapidly, or always has been.
In 1994, well,
You want to go back to your itinerary?
yeah, I'll go back to my itinerary. Just to expand on my birthday, Tanya and Jaden were visiting on my birthday, and so then Tanya offered to take Abby and Joshua so that Cam and I could go out for a bike ride. So we went for a bike ride. And then a couple days later, we took my birthday money and we went and played miniature golf at the Family Fun Center in Alder, Abbotsford. We did that last year too. Went and played miniature golf and then went to Earl's for dinner. And so that's kind of, that's enough. 2 years, that is fine.
No more miniature golf.
We'll try something different next year. I think for Cam's birthday, if I remember correctly, I just made something yummy, and we had Paul and Allie and their family and Nancy and Mike over. Probably do that again this year. Who knows? Then
We didn't talk about the bike seller finishing.
I
did have
know.
something to talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you that. I'll talk about it. In the summer, I went to Oregon, and my brother Will and his wife Kimberly were visiting Kimberly's parents in Hammond, Oregon, and so my parents came down with they have this little travel trailer that they tow, and I took Joshua and Abby. We went and stayed there for a couple days, and then I went on to a friend from BYU, Marla, to her place in Hillsboro, which is just outside of Portland, and visited for a couple days and then came back. And that turned out to be quite an adventure with 2 kids. A minimum 6-hour trip between there and here. So it ended up being longer and more intense, having to stop and feed Abby and just let Joshua run around.
Whoa, here she is.
One thing that Cam didn't mention was that one of his co-workers at the bike seller's father decided to buy him a bike store, so he ended up buying the bike store, the bike seller that Cam worked at. Can you move Joshua? He's in my light.
He's stealing your thunder.
So sometime in December, Cam got his notice that he was going to be laid off. So he had to finish December, had to go through Christmas, all that, with the knowledge that his job was going to be over. And of course, everyone was coming in because Cam phoned all his good customers up to say, "Come on in, there's a big sale," and all that. And they're all asking him, "What are you going to do? What are you going to do?" And
adds to the stress quite a bit. I don't know. Hey, give it a break.
And so for the last month and a half, he's just been working on moon systems and trying to figure out what he's going to do. When Joshua was 2.5, I decided to go to the doctor and talk about why he wasn't talking. So she immediately decided that she wasn't really qualified to make any judgment on that, so sent me off to a pediatrician, and after a lengthy questioning, he came to the conclusion that Joshua was language delayed. So we're kind of in the process of taking him to speech clinics and more developmental assessments and all that, just to try and help him out. Other than that, Abby learned to crawl at the beginning of January. It was quite amazing considering her great mass that she was able to propel herself around, but she's going and she's trying to stand up. Like, she can pull herself up, but she's trying to stand up on her own, which is kind of a different way than what normally think, but she's developed, she's kind of got her leg crossed in front of her and keeps trying to stand up. She's a lot of fun. It sounds like she's ready for her nap. And she's been just a lot of fun. Yeah. And the bulky silhouette. She's got black curly hair, silky, and then big black curly eyelashes and rosy cheeks and
Helmet head.
And a lot of people think she's a beautiful sumo.
She had tons of hair when she came out, just tons.
Yeah, both Joshua and Abby had lots of hair, something that people will always comment on, and hers was always curly, but
Real testimonial for GE, stupid camper.
her hair is staying curly when it's dry now, but it's quite amazing for someone who's not even one. She's the size of a 2-year-old and has really great hair. Joshua doing some jumping. He likes to jump. He likes to jump on the floor. He likes to jump on the bed. He likes to jump on the trampoline. He likes to jump just about anywhere. He likes to walk. He likes cereal. He likes bananas. He doesn't have a wide variety of tastes, but those things that he likes, he's really intensely into. She actually needs a little more food. Anyway, you can probably hear, and the house is very upset about all the jumping that Joshua was doing, because we live in a townhouse and it was shaking and rattling. His particular unit sounded like we were banging in here, and he was quite angry about that. But, so we're just continuing in 95. Cam's working on his business. We're trying to deal with the children. Abby will be walking soon. Probably don't have any vacation plans for this year, but we'll just see how it goes.
This is another favorite of Joshua's. Grab onto your collar and pull like crazy. Well, so there we are.
We should talk about what we think is going to happen in 10 years when we open this capsule.
Is it 10 years or 5?
10.
Holy smokes. Well, I don't know. I noticed this year when we dug out the old wedding photos that I looked at the guy and then I thought, who the heck is that? Look how young he is. 10 years and maybe dead.
Well, then I
Maybe
guess
fading fade, isn't there? In 10 years. Yes. In 10 years, don't bite. I guess we're still hoping to have found some money, some financial security, ideally a home. Be nice to eventually move away from the city, I think, or at least out in the valley, somewhere where it's pitch black at night. It'd be nice to have a couple more kids if we never. Oh, great.
that was Joshua farting, not a...
They may not have heard it.
Oh.
It would be nice. Oh yeah. It'd be nice if we could have another couple of kids if we could afford them.
We need a house.
Yes. No cats, no dogs, no pigs. It will be interesting to see if Moon Systems flies. I learned a lot. The thing that I learned a lot of is that I jumped into the adventure not really knowing what was important about the adventure, or only having a vague idea, or really no idea where we were going. 10 years, I'll be 38.
Okay, house.
He'll be almost 13.
Yeah. House, maybe some more kids, the business going well, minivan.
We've decided we're into big vehicles. Amazing, we used to think anything but two-door cars were really ugly and disgusting, but now big is like, I mean, want one of those little beasties that crawls down the road and pretty well guzzles gas, like snorting it, like, you know. If Paul and Allie are still around. Whether they actually did go to the island or get some promotion inside of Canfor to go somewhere, crawl up the ladder in various ways, but having to leave the city. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jewel. Mike is only about 18 now. Really big, funny, probably the most hilarious, so probably the best game master of all the whole bunch, but also funny, kind of lacking a bit in direction, I'd say too. Be interesting to see how and where he goes. You know, he hasn't felt out that particular method or way he's going. Elaine's family, will probably be doing the same thing here. We'll go into prophecy land. He'll be doing the same thing, but more of it. Will they have another kid? Possibly.
Will they have a girl? Doubtful.
Val and Matt.
Oh, we forgot to mention that Val and Matt had a little boy, Guthrie Zach, in October.
We have yet to see them.
Right, but by his pictures, he looks cute. We've seen Jaden Wind, and he's exceptionally cute.
Weird looking, but what would you expect?
Huge eyes.
Yeah,
He
kind of
looks like
alien.
he looks like a gnome, but he's really cute.
Very true.
Kind of an exotic child, very Japanese and something else.
I guess at this time you'd have to say that we're dirt poor, reasonably happy. Definitely having enough trials to put you on the edge, although what do you expect with life? And you know, hoping that things will pay off in the future, although who knows how. And I don't know what else to say. Hopefully in 10 years, if we're 10 years and we're here, I'll be a psychopath.
If we still live in Woodland Park in a 2-bedroom townhouse with motel orange doors, then we're going to be seriously depressed.
Or so psychotic that we no longer feel anything. Got happy, probably have a happy grin all the time. Yeah, I'd say that's about it. You'll notice that the lighting is pretty cool. That's even furnished by Moon System, big MR16 prototype.
Yeah.
Who knows if that will come on.
Should have credits at the end.
Yeah.
15 to 20 minutes is all about Cam talking about his injury to his leg. So you can watch it at your own discretion.
Well, the only thing I remember, and only vaguely, if that, kind of a real boring year at the bike seller. I was, just grinding it out, trying to get Moon Systems to run, and learning a lot about the business. Kind of a strange year. There are some rather poignant events which we had to just look at and say. First, go riding with Paul and Dwayne, Burnaby Mountain. Get a little careless. We do the usual loop, and I wasn't really being pushed, so I relaxed a bit. About 200 yards from North Road along the trail, or only about 50. Took a left and went straight. And never noticed this before, but on one of the rougher bits, there was a log sticking out, nice point, straight at you, about leg high. And I got bounced off a few rocks into it, which, I don't know, I guess that kind of shows up. Anyways, if you can see a chunk, like about that big, that's what I got peeled back. Sort of like, a fisherman takes a fish, guts it, peels it open, Well, that's kind of what happened. Piece of wood, leg sticking down, flipped in the pedal, wood comes in, wood hits leg hits wood, just misses the shin bone and peels everything back down to about the tendon. Hurts a lot, hurt a lot for a couple days, and then doesn't hurt anymore. Everything, not enough blood circulation down there to really sustain anything. So, anyways, end up hitting a piece of wood, doing my flip off the bike, landing. And then I got to sit down, like, leg up on the trail. Fortunately, Paul was probably a lot warmer than I was. And the end result was that Paul, oh boy, it's such a wonderful time. Paul got to support my back while I sat down and get eaten by the mosquitoes. Dwayne went to get some help, and by the time the ambulance finally arrived, I had quite a nice sit there with Paul. It's kind of cool. It's actually, if you've seen RoboCop or anything, you sit there and move that leg, and you can see just above your ankles the tendons going back and forth, side by side. Anyways, ride to the hospital, go to the hospital, have him sit there for a couple hours with a big syringe going and keep blasting it out as hard as they can with like a hydrant. 18 big sutures, and oh well, tried to get on with life. Maybe got up too early, maybe not, hard to say. Maybe it would have got infected anyway, but gets infected. Now, whereas you might be kind of scared, you should probably move that chair since I got a shadow across me right now, but whereas you really don't have time to get scared, and when you don't know that a big thing is coming, and you really don't have, there's no point worrying about it once your leg has been cut right open. What is rather scary and freaky though is when your leg starts to balloon and turn pinky bright red. That kind of worries you a bit. And people start saying you should go in and have it looked at. Well, go in, and this time there is a little bit of apprehension. Sitting there on, waiting in the emergency. Finally go in, get on the suture table, or the little emergency table where they do all the cutting and the stitching and everything like that. And this little, I think it's Hayakawa, a little Japanese doctor comes in. And they're really busy at Royal Columbian, more so than the week previous. I'd come in on the Monday night type thing. I was back on the Sunday night. He kind of opens up the leg, has a look at it, and goes, oh no, those got to come out. That's when I felt, it's kind of weird, it's just something like your face bursts out in sweat, just a light film. You're kind of nervous. So she just basically opens up this tray, which you didn't realize was right there beside you the whole time. And inside that tray are, some nice surgical sterile bowls.
Keep going.
Keep going.
It's just going to get Abby bonky in her head while you're talking.
Well, I don't know if your artistic impressions here are going to be that good with the camera. And we can move over. Here we go. Anyways, end result is she flips open the little flannel covering on it, pulls out a nice big pair of scissors and starts going ching, 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 cutting the sutures along the way and ripping them out. And then you imagine kind of something like that, kind of a horseshoe, more like this actually, on the leg. Horseshoe with stitches around it. She cuts the stitches out along the horseshoe, and then takes her hands with her surgical gloves and just goes and pulls it apart. That provides some pretty interesting feelings of fear. Anyway, so what was the end result? You got to go on IV therapy every 8 hours, 2, 6, and 10, or 6, 2, and 10. Get up, go to Royal Columbian at 6 in the morning, go back at 2, go back at 10, go on crutches, get to go horizontal, keep the stupid leg elevated as much as possible, all kinds of time. Not fun. IV therapy, not fun. Good experience. I guess if you got experience now, you get to say what it's like having a tube stuck in you permanently so they can keep replugging you in easier. That was not great. And actually, after that Sunday night, I had IV therapy after they basically, opened it up, cleaned it out again, and so forth. And then I went back on Monday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning so they could do IV therapy, to try to keep control of the infection. And they took another look at it. Somehow I managed to hook up with the same surgeon and the same intern, or the same two same doctors, and they kind of looked at me and go, well, we irrigated the hell out of it, oh well. And then the nurse comes over and they all say, you better look away. Kind of wanted to watch, but that was not going to be nice. Thing is, after 2-3 days, there's just not a lot of circulation down here to speed up a recovery. The thing was dead. I could feel them with a pair of scissors cutting. It was really hard to cut through it. Just a big piece of meat like that, sitting there and working real hard to cut it, but not that I could feel it, but you could feel kind of the leg and everything as they sat there and tried it. So anyways, they saw off a big chunk and toss it in the basket, and away you go. Next step is plastic surgery. I tried to put it off because I didn't really want to go through, plastic surgery period. But I even talked with Sue's nurse, or Elaine's nurse, Sue, and she was quite surprised that I had managed to take such a good hunk out of it. And she, it seemed like the popular opinion was, you can get away with not doing it, but you might as well go ahead and do it. It might speed up things. So I got to experience surgery. Never been put out by anesthetic before. That's interesting. I thought I'd beat the game. You're sitting there on the bed looking at the clock, and they start firing in the dripping in anesthetic, and you think, well, I'm feeling a little bit drowsy, but I'm going to beat the clock. I'm going to beat the system here. I'm going to look at that clock and keep counting and talking to him, so see if I can stop him from putting me out. And suddenly you hear the door slam open as you're being wheeled through the doors going out. It's like there's nothing, no dreams. It's just you're in, you're out, and you start asking how long you're out. 45 minutes, who knows? You didn't feel a thing, just you were gone. Plastic surgery, got to be a gift for more. If they're like that. Also, they take a huge, I give you kind of like right there. They go take a section like that, whack, scrape off a whole section so they can plaster that over the big hole in your leg. Unfortunately, it looked too rosy. I maybe got up and got going a little too early from that too. Only about half of the thing managed to actually stick, and the other half of the skin graft kind of got, when you get up, all the pressure from here down sits on it and kind of bubbles it up. Never did take. Eventually it just, came right off. So, being a long time rehabbing it, managed to get back to the bike seller about the 3rd week of July. And just lately it's been that I can get along without the tensor bandage, without it ballooning up again. They figured it would go a lot quicker, but doctors are very reluctant to give you any kind of real specifics because they don't want to be held to it. So, at least now I can ride and do everything I used to do without it ballooning up and without me having to use the tensor. Once in a while, and I haven't had it for a while, I felt that things started to get a little uncomfortable and just massage it like crazy and try to get some more. I'm not having a lot of good luck with this camera. Did you want to be in the picture?
I could be.
Well, you are. I see your.
Yeah, my arm is in there, but I'll take center stage when it's my turn.
Anyways, that was the. While I was on my back, I spent that entire time doing, a work or a dealer book for Moon Systems. I mean, it could have been a nightmarishly long number of weeks without any help or anything like that, and driving me crazy. But it wasn't too bad because I was reading like crazy, learning. It could have been worse. Yeah, surgery, Eagle Ridge Hospital. Elaine goes down to Oregon for a little visit. Ken leaves for Toronto Trade Show. Toronto, what a hole in the middle of nowhere. I couldn't believe it. It's like being on Granville Street, except a lot more of it. Flat, ugly, and terrible water. We'll still be paying off that trade show visit for a while. I don't know.
You want to talk about your business and all?
Yeah, Moon Systems. Well, we did about $22,000 in our first year, September through June or whatever. Not bad for a little test in Vancouver. This year I was hoping that we would jump to about 150 units a month instead of 10 units a month. Well, I was maybe a little ambitious now, or about 50, 55 units a month, and maybe 10 to 12 grand. So it didn't turn out this year, despite my very, very optimistic plans, that it would become a full-time job. Disappointing, I've had to reevaluate a lot of things when you set your goals lofty and they don't come about quite away. Although I have to say that the objective observers figure that we've done well, and we certainly have something to build on. In fact, in a couple days I'm going to a trade show in Seattle, talk with one of our reps and get it going. But anyways, the company has progressed quite a bit. I don't know how you would give a really short objective summary of it, but we're going to put a couple of our reviews in the box, and it'll show that we really had screaming good reviews. And who knows, perhaps in 5 years we'll be able to look at it and say, it really went far, but right now we just don't know where it'll go. It's pretty some days it's exciting, some days it's kind of scary. Lately kind of scary mostly. Otherwise, I guess we could talk about the kids. Abigail has progressed quite quickly from the cute blob stage. That thing is never going to go out there. That date.
No, that date isn't it?
She's progressed pretty good from the blob stage. Wee. And she's actually been quite a joy. We've got a hilarious picture of her and John.